Welcome to the Kingdom Culture Podcast that was created on purpose with a purpose to empower, uplift, and guide others to the center of God's perfect will. Kingdom Culture family, welcome back to the Kingdom Culture Podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about setting goals. So when I was 17, I actually fell in love with the reality of becoming an entrepreneur or being self-employed, having passive income to fund my lifestyle. And since then, I've been focused on learning and growing and reading all the books and studying all the people that are already there. You know, I'm talking about Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, John C. Maxwell, Robert Kiyosaki, and all of these people that, you know, have achieved great things in their lives. Bob Proctor, may he rest in peace, you know. And the one thing that they all talk about when I was studying them is setting goals, how to actually set goals and what it actually means to do that, and how you can, you know, actually be so focused because you wrote down your goals. So you have to be number one, very specific. You have to know what you want to do, and you have to be able to say, like, I'll give you an example. When I first started, I would say stuff that was broad, like, oh, I want to work out 5 times a week. Cool. So what time do you want to work out? You know, what muscles do you want to focus on? What's your weight that you're trying to lose? Like, I didn't have none of that background stuff. It was just a plain goal of, like, I want to work out. That's it. Cool. And then as I started diving deeper and deeper and deeper, I realized that the more specific that you set your goals to be, the better. So be very specific. Number one, be very specific. After you're very specific, write it down. You have to write it down on a piece of paper because it's so important. There was actually a study done, and you guys can look this up if you would like, a study done by Dr. Gail Matthews, psychology professor at Dominican University in California. Her study is referred to as the Dominican study, and this aimed to investigate the impact of written goals on goal achievement. In her study, participants were divided into 5 groups. Each group was assigned a different level of goal setting and accountability. The results indicated that those who wrote down their goals, shared them with a friend, and provided weekly progress to that friend were significantly more likely to achieve their goals compared to those who simply thought about their goals or set a goals without writing them down. So again, be very specific and write down your goals, because I don't know about you, but I forget what I thought about yesterday or the day before, right? I could have had a really cool idea or a really cool goal, and if I didn't write it down, it's gone, right? And another thing that I learned about writing down my goals is that you can put them anywhere. When I first started my journey of growth, I thought it was silly to just, you know, they would say, put your goals everywhere, put them in note cards and put them in your pocket because you have to be able to see them. But in reality, that's the truth, because out of sight, out of mind, right? You have to set your goals and write them down and have them be very specific. The reason is because vague goals makes it very challenging to know when they are achieved. You need to specify what you want to accomplish, why it's important, and how you would do it. So I'll give you an example, right? I was talking about the gym. I want to work out 5 days a week. Cool. And then I started diving deeper and deeper and deeper, and it turns out that I can break it down as far as what's my weight loss, what is the fat that I want to lose, how many muscle do I want to gain. Like, you can break it down so much that you'll be able to just do a checklist and see your progress, because that's another thing. You know, you have to make them measurable. Establish criteria for measuring your progress. This provides concrete evidence of your success and helps you stay on track. Quantifiable goals are easier to track and assess. So when I first started my journey, I was just like, okay, cool. I would look in the mirror every day and almost see a difference, right? But with the gym, you don't see a difference in the mirror from day 1 to day 30. Like, it takes time for your body to change, and it takes time for you to notice it, right? So when I started tracking my weight, when I started tracking the way that I ate, the way that I the macros and everything else, it was amazing what that did. It gave me more inspiration. It gave me more desire to continue my workout journey because I could see the differences. I could see where I was and where I was heading to, and it was so cool. And I totally agree that you should write down your goals, make them measurable, and make them very specific. Another point that they all talk about is setting realistic goals. Because we can all aim for the moon. I could say, like, I'm 29. By the age of 34, I want to be able to go to the moon. Maybe I get close. Maybe I get close enough to the people that will take me there in 10 years. But is that really a realistic goal for my life, for my lifestyle, for what I've been doing for the last 5-10 years? Reality is no. So that wouldn't be a realistic goal, right? So make them realistic. A realistic goal for me right now that I will share with you guys is to post 100 videos on this podcast. That's a realistic goal. I already have all of the topics that I want to talk about. I have the outlines laid out, and I know that I'm going to get to 100 episodes because I'm planning on it. I wrote it down. That is my main goal with Kingdom Culture Podcast, is to get to 100 videos. And so, that right there is a realistic goal. So, like I said, it's great to aim high, but ensure that your goals are realistic and attainable. Consider your resources, time constraints, and current abilities when setting objectives, right? Like I said, I know nothing about space, and I think that that's amazing that people have gone into space and everything, but I think that they had years and years of schooling to be able to even just be an astronaut. And then there's a bunch of tests that you got to go through. Like, no, I'm not up for that. So again, set realistic goals. Another cool thing that I want to talk about, and I want you guys to truly dive into this, is time blocking. Because life gets busy. Life is just, you can fill up your calendar, you can fill up your day, but are you really being productive? Are you really truly diving into your time and time blocking it so that you're actually productive? And I'm talking about no distractions whatsoever. And this was the coolest thing that I just learned. So time blocking, what is it? You focus on one thing and one thing only until that thing is done. If you guys have not read, I totally recommend the book, The One Thing, because it changed everything for me. I learned about time blocking. I read that book twice because I just wanted to dissect it and ingest everything that it has to say, because I think that it's amazing. It breaks down how you set up your day to be able to just accomplish the one thing that you have to accomplish to get you into the next level of where you're trying to go. This, I'll give you guys the time blocking thing for me, right? So I wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. So I work out from 4 to 6, and then from 6 to 6:30, I pray and I read my Bible. And then from 6:30 to 7:30, I get ready for work and I get my son ready. And then by 7:45, we're out of the door. I take him to his babysitter, and then I go to work from 8 to 5 p.m. Obviously, there's other things that I do between there, but that's time blocking. I make sure that I make time for my exercise because it's a valuable time for me. It helps me with mental health. It helps me to think better, and I just love it, right? I set time for prayer and meditation because it's amazing what that does for me. In between my work hours, I actually have 2 hours of self-development that I pencil in there. So I actually time block it out. So I'm at my job doing my job, but I'm listening. I'm always listening to podcasts. I'm always trying to listen to books, and I'm always just learning. And then I have a little notepad that I have on my desk that I use. Sorry, not that I have. I said I have. I have a notepad that I write in when I hear something that triggers my brain, and then I write down the episode and who's talking and the time, so that when I'm home, I can actually come back and look at what that meant and like digest it deeper. So my nighttime routine is actually my favorite time of the day because I get to spend time with my son. So from 6 to about 8:30, I'm with him. So we have dinner together, we play, we get him ready for bed, we take a shower, like everything else, and before we go to sleep, we read him a book or the Bible, and then we go to sleep, and then we repeat, right? And not every day is like that, right? There's other days where I don't work out, and I use that time to work on the podcast, and I write down a bunch of ideas of things that I want to talk about, and I just feed into that, right? But time blocking is what's going to change everything. Because before, I would not have time blocks. I would not put priority to the tasks that I wanted to get done. And I was all over the place. And I never got anything done because I was overthinking, I was over planning, I was just overdoing everything. But time blocking, make sure that you know that unless you're doing that one thing that will set you up for the next thing, everything else is a distraction. The book talks about it being a domino effect. And if you guys know about dominoes, you drop one and all the others just follow. It's just a great book, and I totally recommend it. Again, it's called The One Thing. You can buy it at your favorite bookstore, hopefully, or Amazon has it as well. And the last point that I want to give you guys is actually to celebrate your wins, celebrate your success, celebrate the goals that you have already achieved, celebrate no matter how small they are, celebrate what you've already done, because this will bring motivation. You will feel inspired. It will give you more energy to do more things as you start checking these things off your list, right? For example, for me, reading books now has become my everything. That's another part of my nighttime routine. Is instead of being on my phone now, I'm scrolling and like whatever, TikTok, I actually read 5 pages of my book. I have a new goal where I want to read at least 5 books a year. So again, you have to make realistic goals. You have to make attainable goals. You have to make, goals that you're able to measure. So I said, okay, 5 books a year. It depends on how many pages are in a book. How many pages do I have to read a day to be able to read this book and how many months or whatever, right? So the book that I'm currently reading, that's the goal. You read 5 pages a day, and you'll be able to finish that book in like a month or so. So again, every time that I read the 5 pages, I'm like, cool. And I have it on my calendar where I have these X's that show me what I've been able to do. So it gives me a visualization of the goals that I'm setting and what I'm accomplishing. So if you want to throw that in there as well, that's super cool. But celebrate your wins, celebrate your achievements, because it feels so good. And guess what? It's not going to be easy. Setting goals and everything else, it wasn't easy for me to dive deep and have to restructure my whole life because I learned the right way to do it. It was not easy at first. And I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a friend. There's times where I had to say no to people when they want to hang out because I have time blocked a specific thing that I have to do to get me to the next level of where I'm trying to go with my goals. So that's why it's very important for you to know exactly what you want to do, because you don't just want to be throwing, darts with no goals or anything else like that, right? Like there's no board for you to aim at, so why would you even throw the dart, right? So set goals, guys. Write them down. Make them realistic. Make them measurable. Celebrate your wins. And just have fun with your process. Like, I am loving this growth and this journey of just growing and learning who I am and learning what my dreams are and learning what I want to do. And it's amazing. You never know what you're capable of until you step out of your comfort zones. And setting goals will also get you out of your comfort zones, because if you're like me and you hadn't set goals for a long time, setting them gives you a whole new perspective on everything. It is amazing. But anyways, that's all I had for you this week. I hope that this podcast is bringing value to your life, and that if it is, please share it forward. I always say that with people, sharing is the fastest way to grow. So if you like this podcast or found some value in it, please share with a friend. And remember that I love you, but the Lord loves you more. Always, always, always. God bless.